Last Thursday, Exodus released a new dev Q&A video, and they revealed some very interesting things about the game. So let's break down the reveals, go over an interview with lead writer Drew Karpyshyn, and talk about Exodus's future. This is Exodus's second dev Q&A video with James Olin and Chad Robertson. They reveal that Exodus will have non-human companions, and new companions will be introduced throughout the game, as Exodus takes place over several decades. There is a core group of companions that will be with June, the protagonist, throughout the entire journey, and some of these will go on your journey with you, and the relationships with them will evolve. Aside from these core companions, some new companions will be introduced when you return from your exodus across the galaxy. At the end of the video, they revealed this new piece of concept art, and here's a larger version from the Wizards website, and I think this could maybe be either two versions of June, or June on the left and the woman on the right is from this earlier teaser, because the armor and helmet look very similar. Her short braided hair reminds me of the silhouette from the website as well. Maybe she is the last revealed human companion, alongside Elise Charoux and Tom Vargas. Someone asked if we'll be able to play as a non-human protagonist, and Robertson said yes and no, but they will reveal more about this later. And as we already know, June is half celestial, half human, so maybe there's more to this. And we also have this image of our protagonist with this creepy looking creature on the left. I had speculated that this was maybe because of the rot on Lydon, but maybe this is connected to the non-human protagonist question. When asked if there will be other sentient alien species, aside from the Celestials, Olin revealed that everything from Exodus has a terrestrial origin and has evolved over tens of thousands of years, and species we'll run into look very different than their origin and typical sci-fi appearances. And most importantly for me, they did reveal awakened animals will be in the game, like the clip of Charlotte the pig from the Exodus website, and the octopus and raccoon from the short stories. And this is my favorite reveal so far. In the short story with Doris the awakened pig, she has been genetically altered and has super strength and speed and bites off a man's hand. So maybe they could even have combat abilities. Olin also says that there are also awakened animals that have evolved over thousands of years and no longer look like their original species. Another short story also has an octopus as a medical tech, so the possibilities outside of just our direct companions are endless. The short stories of Exodus also have AI, changelings, and robots, and I believe we'll see them as well. A few months ago, the Archimedes engine, written by Peter of Hamilton, was announced, and they also revealed that Hamilton is a writer behind Exodus. In the dev Q&A, they revealed that Hamilton was one of their top choices to help build the world of Exodus. Hamilton also helped bring real-world science into the sci-fi aspect of Exodus. They also said that they have read the Archimedes engine and loved it. I also don't know if I mentioned this in my previous videos, but it looks like Adrian Tchaikovsky is also one of the writers of Exodus. Karpyshyn posted this last year and says he loves working with sci-fi legend Tchaikovsky. So as of right now, we know Karpyshyn, Hamilton, and Tchaikovsky. They also spoke on the role that Matthew McConaughey will have in Exodus, and they think his role will really surprise people. His role will be important and will have a big presence from the very beginning, all the way through the epilogue. And they did also reveal that there is a twist to his character. They said they got chills listening to some of his first work. And this bit of information did reveal that the game will have an epilogue, and they've spoken about wanting to create several games within the Exodus world. So I wonder if each game could potentially have a new traveler. And lastly, they shared how much they're enjoying working on the project. Again, if you haven't seen the actual video, go check it out because the music in it is amazing. I really love it, and I don't want to repost it until I know I won't get copyright striked, so you'll have to check out the video yourself, which I'll link below. But the music kind of sounds like Tron meets Sam Hulick. You can definitely hear the synthwave inspiration, and I would love if it was Sam Hulick, but that's just my personal wish. But definitely go listen to the music, it's very, very, very good. And something that stood out to me in the news announcement from the Q&A from the website says it is humbling to see this level of enthusiasm so early in the project. So this makes me wonder if we are truly in Exodus's marketing phase, or if this is the lead up just to that. I keep expecting a 2025 release date, and I hope that's the case, but the way Exodus has been revealing information like this early on is very interesting, and I can't think of many games who have taken this approach. So I'm just not sure what this means and what it means about the development timeline. We know 3 studios are working to bring Exodus to life, and the Archimedes engine releases in September. Hopefully, Exodus releases within 6 months after its first novel to kind of keep the momentum going. I hope anyways. There has also been some smaller reveals of Exodus that I've been waiting to compile. So let's look over 2 new short stories, another dev Q&A, and an interview with lead writer Drew Karpyshyn. For Earth Day on April 22nd, Exodus released a new short story, which I'll link below so you can read the full thing, but it seems like it's referencing the Human Exodus Museum from the reveal trailer. And in this museum, it covers a diary from a young teacher back on Earth before the big exodus. She speaks of pollution and how the pollution levels were low enough that children with asthma wouldn't need their breathers. She also mentions climbing CO2 emissions and rising temperatures and microplastics contaminating our oceans. And by planting trees, she's trying to remind the students that there is still hope for humanity's future. She says, "It's not too late. We can still change things for the better. We can still save Earth. I truly believe that. I have to. What other options are there? Abandon this planet that gave birth to us? Hurl ourselves out into the cold darkness of space? And pray we find something half as precious as what we already have? I can't even imagine the misery and suffering such a future might entail. Hopefully we never have to find out." That's the end of her diary, and her future is unknown. And even if she would have lived to see the era of the Ark fleets, she would have been too old to have been selected for a spot on one. And this last bit of the story reveals why Earth has to be left behind. Our ancestors didn't appreciate what they had until it was too late. Earth was lost, our home forever destroyed by our own hubris, avarice, and apathy. Those of us who study history know it often repeats itself. Is our own home of Lydon doomed to head down the same path as Earth? Are we blind to the lessons of the past? If you look closely, there are already signs of potential trouble. Will we heed the warning before it's too late? Or will we, too, lose this world we have been blessed with? So it seems like Earth became inhospitable for humanity, and climate change and pollution were the reason behind it becoming this way. Humanity destroyed its own home. And obviously, this reflects our real world. We're seeing these changes today, and personally, I love when sci-fi is so close to reality with a slight possible deviation for the future, but the foundation matches our real experience. So I'm excited for this plot. And with Lydon now experiencing the rot, it seems like they're worried that Lydon is experiencing something similar, and June was created to help stop this from happening. And another short story that Exodus shared on April 16th also talks about why humanity had to flee Earth, and offers more insight into how cutthroat competition was to get a spot on the Arks. Over 40,000 years ago, humanity was forced to flee a dying world, a world that had been used, abused, and taken for granted until the natural resources dried up. The grassy fields became mud flats, and the farmlands were depleted and fallow. Nature replaced by massive cityscapes, overrun by masses of humanity, leaving little space in which to carve out an existence. The Ark ships offered a chance at some kind of future as Earth collapsed into an uninhabitable wasteland. Competition to secure a spot on the Arks was fierce, as was the competition between different builders and projects as they fought for dwindling resources while society collapsed around them. Those not fortunate enough to be chosen often resorted to violence in a desperate attempt to secure a place on the departing vessels, or sought to destroy them, out of spite of being left behind. But even those who successfully escaped Earth were faced with incredible challenges. Many of these ships were lost in the void forever. Only a fortunate few discovered habitable worlds in the Centauri cluster. Over the course of the next 25,000 years, Ark ships filled with human settlers kept arriving. Many were drawn by the green signal, sent by the first arrivals to guide ships to humanity's new home in the stars. Others arrived by sheer accident, but most never arrived at all. From the accounts we have, We know that the journey to Centauri was both dangerous and difficult. Overpacked Ark ships were forced to grapple with hordes of humanity, packed into spaces built for half of what they carried. The stories that emerged of the trials and tribulations that occurred on the ships during that migration are stories mostly told through the scraps of clothing, broken bits of personal mementos, and journal entries hidden in the tubing of the cryopods, the remnants of the hopes and hardships of the Ark ship communities. Love stories and nightmares, pieced together through the curation of humanity's relics, in the hopes it would benefit those who came later, are now stored as valuable jewels in the cases of the Human Exodus Museum. They serve as a testament to humanity's endurance, and perhaps a warning to be wary of what lies ahead. Welcome to Exodus. And this museum has been featured now in the short stories and the trailer, so I assume that it will have relevance in the game. And here's the breakdown of the interview with Drew Karpyshyn, lead writer. Ultimately, there wasn't a lot of new information revealed, but there was a very strong emphasis on just how much time dilation will affect the game, the player's decisions, and it having major consequences. Karpyshyn says, "We've spent a lot of time and effort working out how player choice and time dilation will work in our game, as it is one of the core elements of the story and experience. We want players to truly feel the weight of every decision they make, and to understand the cost and sacrifice they must pay whenever they return from Exodus missions and come face to face with the consequences of time dilation." And he says the entire core story is around the cycle of Exodus. The game is all about hard choices and long-term consequences, and the effects of time dilation are central to that conflict. There was also a smaller time dilation-focused Q&A at the start of April, and while a lot of this re-emphasizes things we already knew, the questions seem to focus a lot on the Elohim. This gives me the impression that we will see them again, and they are tied very intrinsically to the story. There was also a question if travelers experience side effects of time dilation, and they reveal that there is a brief state of altered consciousness called frame dreaming. Some travelers who journey through the gates report strange visions or powerful emotional responses the moment the gate accelerates them to the edge of light speed. But in every case, the experiences are temporary and leave no long-term side effects. This sounds really interesting, and I wonder if we'll experience this. There was also a question about what would happen if one of the gates was destroyed, and the answer to this question revealed some new information about the rot. There are rumors of a technovirus known as the rot, degrading the efficiency and reliability of gates and distant systems on the edge of the cluster. But such reports are typically dismissed as little more than fear-mongering. So here are all the pieces of new information we've been given over the last month, but I highly recommend checking out the interviews and reading the articles on the Exodus website because they really expand on a lot of aspects of the game, and there's a lot of really interesting concept art and lore information on their website, so definitely go check it out. I hope they're revealing enough about the world to keep people interested while still leaving a lot of mystery and reveals for the actual gameplay. And honestly, if they can pull this off, this game could be big. It sounds like not only is there a large cast of companions to choose from, but there's also a diverse selection of races and species that we could meet. The game sounds like it has the potential to be massive. And speaking of mass, yes, this game does remind me of Mass Effect, in the best way possible. I think the games sound very different even if they are similar, and there's always room for more sci-fi RPGs, especially while we wait for Mass Effect 5. I think this game is coming at the perfect time, and I hope that they can do everything that they're saying. I am excited to learn more about Exodus when we get the Archimedes engine in September, and hopefully we'll see more Exodus later this year. Maybe at Summer Games Fest, or at the Game Awards at the end of the year, which seems more likely. And if you're here, you're all caught up on Exodus news since my latest video. If you're interested in more Exodus, you can check out my other videos and subscribe for more to keep updated on any and all upcoming news. Let me know all your thoughts about all the reveals. Oh, and I keep forgetting to mention this, but there is an Exodus Discord, so I'll link that below if you want to join and come hang out. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.